Hello students, in this video I will talk about the sex differences in the pelvis. Okay, so these are the features on which the differentiation is made. This is the male and this is the female. So how you will differentiate between a male pelvis and a female pelvis? This is very important topic viva point of view. Okay, in clinical point of view also it is a very important thing to know whether this pelvic bone or bony pelvis belong to a male or a female. Okay, so there are certain things and certain features which differentiate a male and female pelvis. The first is the build. The male pelvis is more strong, means the strength, that is the bones, the ilium, ischium pubis, the sacrum, the coccyx, all these bones are very strong. Okay, the build is very strong, and in female as comparatively it is less strong. Okay, next differentiating point is the muscular impressions. Now you know there are many muscles which are attached to the bony pelvis, the sacrum, the coccyx. So the impressions of the muscles, it would be very prominent. The impressions of the muscles would be very prominent in males. So there will be lot of rough prominent surfaces on the male pelvis, and in female it is less prominent. So the muscular impressions in male pelvis is more prominent as compared to female pelvis. The next is the articular surfaces and the acetabulum. Whatever the articular surfaces, that is between the sacroiliac joint, okay, or between the head of the femur and the acetabulum, okay, between the sacrum and the coccyx. So these are the articular surfaces. Then the lumbar, fifth lumbar vertebrae and the sacrum, that is lumbosacral joint. Okay, this, the articular surfaces and the acetabulum is large in males and it is smaller in females. So this is one of the differentiating feature. The next is the functional adaptation. What is the functional adaptation? What is the main functional adaptation of the bony pelvis? In male, it is for weight transmission. You all know the males are, the muscular mass is more prominent in males as compared to females. So for weight transmission of the upper part of the body, okay, is the main function of the bony pelvis. Okay, and in female it is weight transmission as well as childbearing. Okay, for normal labor in a child. Okay, so for in a female, for normal labor of a child, that is normal delivery, and this is very important. The next is the true pelvis. Now you know what is true pelvis. Okay, true pelvis is the lesser pelvis. In male it is less shallow, and in females it is more shallow. Okay, so the true pelvis is less shallow in males and it is more shallow in females. Okay, now we'll go to the subpubic angle, that is the angle between the right and left ischiopubic rami. You can see this. This is the angle ischiopubic rami. This is known as subpubic angle. Okay, the subpubic angle. Okay, now the subpubic angle, that is the angle between the right and left ischiopubic rami, it is 50 to 60 degree sharp and it is 90 degree rounded. So in males the ischiopubic rami, okay, it is 50 to 60 degree sharp and it is 90 degree rounded. Okay, you can see this differentiation, this angle. Okay, so this angle is 50 to 60 degree sharp. Okay, it is 50 to 60 degree sharp, and in females it is rounded. Okay, in females it is rounded. So this is angle is 50 to 60 degree, and in females it is rounded. Okay, yes. So this is one of the differentiating point. Okay, you can see here also in one of the pictures. So this is the pubic arch. You can see this is the pubic arch. This is just 50 to 60 degree, and this is 90 degree. It is rounded. It is more. This arch, the angle is only 50 to 60 degree, and here the angle is around 90 degree. Okay, so this is a male pelvis and this is the female pelvis. Okay, and this is one of the differentiating point. The next differentiating point is the medial edges of the istiopubic rami. This medial edges of the istiopubic rami is everted for the attachment of crura of penis in males. Okay, so this istiopubic rami, you can see this is superior rami of pubis, this is inferior rami of pubis. Okay, this is istiopubic rami. Okay, so this rami is everted in case of males for the penis, for the attachment of crura of penis. It is everted. Everted means on the outer side. Okay, next we'll study is the distance from the pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of the acetabulum. Okay, so what is it? The distance from the pubic symphysis, okay, to the anterior margin of the acetabulum. Okay, now this is the acetabulum. This is not shown in the diagram, so I'll show here. The distance between, what they are saying, the distance between the anterior margin of the pubic symphysis. Okay, so we'll take this. The distance from the pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of the acetabulum, xy. So this is xy. So this they have drawn acetabulum. This is acetabulum. So distance from the pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of acetabulum. This is x and y. Okay, this is xy. Okay, versus the total width of the acetabulum. Okay, so total width of the acetabulum is yz. So distance between pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of acetabulum is taken as xy, and the total distance, okay, so the total width of the acetabulum, this is the width of the acetabulum, is yz. Now what is the difference between this xy and yz in male and female pelvis? Now xy is equal to yz in male pelvis. So if you see, this is a male pelvis, this xy, okay, and yz, this yz and xy is same. Okay, the distance is same. But in female xy is more than yz. If you see this xy, okay, this xy is more than yz. That means the distance between the pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of the acetabulum is very wide as compared to the width of the acetabulum, that is yz. Okay, so again I'll repeat, xy, yz. xy is the distance between pubic symphysis and the anterior margin of the acetabulum, and yz is the width of the acetabulum. In males this is equal, but in females the xy is more as compared to yz. That is, the distance between the pubic symphysis and the anterior margin of acetabulum is more as compared to the width of the acetabulum. Okay, so this is one important differentiation. Okay, the width of the pubis is less, the width of the pubis is greater. Okay, so you can see here, you can easily see here. So the width of the pubis, okay, the pubis, this is pubics, superior, inferior mi, superior mi. So the width would be more, okay, the width would be more, and here the width is less, okay, here the width is more, the width is less of the pubis. The obturator foramen is ovoid in male, but the obturator foramen is triangular in female. So the shape of the obturator foramen is ovoid in male and it is triangular in female. Okay, so this is the obturator foramen. Okay, so this obturator foramen, it is ovoid in male and it is triangular in female. So this obturator foramen is ovoid in male and it is triangular shaped in female. Okay. Next is the greater sciatic notch. Okay. The greater sciatic notch is narrow in male and it is wide and deep in females. You know where is the greater sciatic notch? Okay, you all know this. Where is the greater sciatic notch? You have done in the, when you have done the hip bone. So here you can see the greater sciatic notch. Okay, here the outline in female and the outline in male. So in males, the greater sciatic notch is narrow. It is narrow. This red line is showing the lining of the greater sciatic notch in male. Okay, so it is narrow, and in females it is wide and deep. In females, this greater sciatic notch is wide and deep. So you all know where is the greater sciatic notch. Okay, this is the greater sciatic notch. So this is the greater sciatic notch. It is wide in females. This is wide in females and it is narrow in males. So this is the greater sciatic notch. Okay, which is wide in females. Okay, now we'll proceed further to the next differentiating points. Okay, next we'll go sacrum, the width of the articular area for the body of the fifth lumbar vertebrae. It is more than the width of the ala. It is equal to the width of the ala. Now what they are saying here, the sacrum, the width of the articular area for the body of the lumbar vertebrae. Now you do, this is the upper surface of the sacrum. Okay, this is the upper surface of the sacrum. They are talking about the width of this upper surface where the L5 vertebrae is articulating. So what is it? In males, it is more than the width of the ala. So this width, okay, this width is more than the width of the ala in males. This width is more than the width of the ala. But in females, it is equal to the width of the ala. So this width is equal to the width of the ala. Okay, so in males, this width of the sacrum where it is articulating with L5 is more as compared to the width of the ala, but in females it is equal. Okay, in females the width is equal to the width of the ala. Next is the pelvic inlet is heart shaped in males and the pelvic inlet is rounded in females. So the pelvic inlet, okay, is heart shaped in males. It is heart shaped and it is rounded in females. Why it is to be rounded? For the childbirth. So it is rounded in females and it is heart shaped in males. It is heart shaped in males. Okay. Next differentiating point is the diameters of the pelvic inlet in males all are smaller. That I have shown you in the previous video of my diameters of the pelvic inlet and outlet. This all diameters, that is the AP diameter, the transverse diameter, the oblique diameter, they all are smaller in males, and in females they all are larger. Okay. Now the next is the preauricular sulcus. The preauricular sulcus is deeper and more prominent. Okay. So the preauricular sulcus is more deeper in female as compared to male. Okay. So these are the differentiating points between the male and the female pelvis. Okay. Again I will repeat. The build is strong in male as compared to female. The muscular impressions, the roughness, the rigidity on the bony surfaces would be more prominent in males as compared to female. It is less prominent in females. The articular surfaces and acetabulum is larger in males and smaller in females. The functional adaptation of male pelvis is weight transmission. In females it is weight transmission as well as childbearing. The true pelvis is less shallow, it is more shallow. Okay. The subpubic angle is 50 to 60 degrees sharp in male and it is rounded. The subpubic angle is 50 to 60 degrees sharp and it is rounded in female. Okay, up to 90 degree. Okay, it is 90 degree. This. Okay, you can see here the difference. This is up to 90 degree. This is up to 50 to 60 degree. Okay. The next is the medial edges of the istiopubic rami is everted for the attachment of the crura of penis in males. So the istiopubic rami, okay, the medial edges, okay, here would be everted for the attachment of the crura of the penis. Okay. The next differentiating point is the distance from the pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of the acetabulum versus the total width of the acetabulum. XY is equal to YZ in males and XY is more than YZ in females. This also I have explained you students. The distance between the pubic symphysis to the anterior margin of the acetabulum, let's take it XY, and between the width of the acetabulum, that the width of the acetabulum is taken as YZ. Okay. XY is equal to YZ in a male pelvis. But in female pelvis, this XY, that is distance between pubic symphysis and anterior margin of the acetabulum, is more as compared to the width of the acetabulum, that is YZ. Okay. Next differentiating point is the width of the pubis. This is less, this is greater. This also I have explained. The width of the pubis is less here and it is great here. Okay. The wideness. The next feature is obturator foramen is ovoid and it is triangular in female. So the obturator foramen is ovoid in males and it is more triangular in females. Okay. Next differentiating point is the greater sciatic notch is narrow in males and it is wide and deep in females. Next, the sacrum. The width of the articular body for the body of fifth lumbar vertebrae. It is more than the width of the ala. It is equal to the width of the ala. So this also I have explained you in the figure. So the width of the articular surface of the sacrum for L5 is more than the width of the ala in males, and the width of the articular surface of the sacrum with L5 with the width of the ala is equal in females. Okay. Next differentiating point is the pelvic inlet is heart shaped and it is rounded. This is very important. The pelvic inlet, the boundary of the pelvic inlet is heart shaped and it is rounded in females and it is heart shaped in males. Okay. Next is the diameters of the pelvic inlet, that is AP, transverse and oblique diameter are smaller and it is larger in females. Preauricular sulcus, this is deeper and more prominent. Okay. So these are the differentiating points between a male and a female pelvis. The next thing, okay, here is this, you have to just remember this chart or this table. Okay, these are the types of female pelvis and their features. Now the female pelvis is again divided into various types. These are the features. These are the gynecoid, android, anthropoid and platypeloid. So these are the types of female pelvis: gynecoid, android, anthropoid and platypeloid. First we'll take the feature. What is the shape of the pelvic inlet? It is circular in gynecoid. It is heart shaped in android. It is anthropoid in, that is anteroposterior ellipse in anthropoid, and it is flat in platypoid. So this is the shape of the pelvic inlet. This has to be, just has to remember this table has to be by hearted. The diameters, the transverse diameter is more than the AP diameter in gynecoid. The AP diameter is more than the transverse diameter in android. The AP diameter is more than the transverse diameter in anthropoid, and transverse diameter is more than the anterior. So these are the diameters of the different types of pelvis, female pelvis. The pelvic cavity and outlet. In gynecoid, it is very spacious pelvic cavity. The pelvic cavity is funnel shaped and outlet diameter is less. The cavity is funnel shaped and outlet diameter is less in android. In anthropoid, it is compressed side to side, and in platypoid, it is compressed antero-posteriorly. The next feature is delivery of the fetus. In gynecoid, it is very suitable for normal delivery. In android, it may result in obstructed labor. Okay, because why the pelvic cavity is funnel shaped, that's why. Okay, in anthropoid, that is difficult for smooth delivery because you can see it is compressed side to side. Okay, and it is elliptical in shape, it is ellipsoid in shape, that's why. And platypoid, obviously it is difficult in delivery. Okay, transverse diameter is more than the AP and it is compressed antero-posteriorly and it is flat. Okay, so the inlet is flat. Percentage of gynecoid female pelvis is 42%, android is 32%, anthropoid is 24% and platypeloid is just 2%. Okay, so these are the various types of female pelvis and their features. You just have to remember this table. Okay, this table has to be by hearted. Okay, thank you students.